Every time you ask ChatGPT a question, stream a movie, or store a file in the cloud somewhere out there, a data center lights up. Racks of servers spin into action, drawing massive amounts of electricity and water to keep your digital life alive. These silent giants are the backbone of the internet, the hidden machinery of the modern world. But now they're becoming the center of a growing conflict. Across the United States, communities are rising up against big tech's data center boom, arguing that these facilities are draining local resources, straining power grids, and reshaping neighborhoods, all for the benefit of distant corporations. What was once seen as a sign of progress is now a symbol of imbalance. Let's unpack the story behind this growing backlash and what it means for the future of AI, cloud computing, and sustainable technology. Let's start with what's happening. Over the past 5 years, the demand for computing power has exploded, driven by artificial intelligence, cloud storage, and digital streaming. Tech giants like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta have responded by building hundreds of new data centers across the U.S., particularly in states like Virginia, Iowa, Oregon, and Texas. These aren't small facilities. A single hyperscale data center can cover more than 1 million square feet, the size of 15 football fields, and consume as much electricity as 100,000 homes. In places like Northern Virginia, known as Data Center Alley, the skyline is dotted with these massive windowless buildings. The region now hosts over 70% of the world's internet traffic, running through clusters of servers that power everything from TikTok videos to corporate AI systems. But as these data centers multiply, so do the tensions. Local residents and environmental groups are pushing back hard, saying big tech's hunger for power and water is outpacing what local communities can provide. In Loudoun County, Virginia, residents are protesting new data center construction, citing noise pollution from 24/7 cooling systems and the visual blight of huge industrial structures near homes. In Mesa, Arizona, community leaders are questioning whether the region, already struggling with drought, can afford to allocate millions of gallons of water a day to keep server farms cool. And in Texas, officials have warned that data centers could stress the state's already fragile power grid, which has faced blackouts in recent years. It's a new kind of civic conflict, one that pits digital demand against physical limits. So why are these facilities so resource-intensive? Data centers don't just store information, they process it constantly. Every AI query, every social media post, every video stream involves thousands of simultaneous computations. That means heat, and lots of it. To prevent overheating, servers require continuous cooling. Traditionally, that means massive air conditioning systems or liquid cooling methods that consume both power and water. And as AI workloads increase, the energy draw skyrockets. Analysts estimate that by 2030, global data centers could consume up to 10% of the world's total electricity, much of it driven by AI training and deployment. Even more concerning, while many tech firms promise renewable energy offsets, those commitments don't always translate into real-time sustainability. A wind or solar credit on paper doesn't cool servers at midnight when demand spikes. For big tech, the challenge is twofold: optics and operations. On one hand, companies want to expand AI infrastructure at record speed to stay competitive. On the other, they're facing growing reputational risks as communities demand answers. Google recently delayed several planned data center expansions after public hearings became heated over power usage. Microsoft has faced criticism for building facilities near sensitive ecosystems. And Meta, despite rebranding itself as a leader in green innovation, continues to face opposition in multiple states over its high water footprint. What's new here isn't the technology, it's the politics. Communities that once competed to attract big tech projects for jobs and tax revenue are now turning them away. Residents are realizing that while data centers bring investment, they don't bring many jobs, often fewer than 50 per site. The tax benefits don't always offset the infrastructure strain or the environmental cost. But here's where it gets complicated. The world's digital infrastructure has to exist somewhere. As AI continues to scale, global demand for compute power will only grow. The question isn't whether we build data centers, it's how and where we build them. Some companies are already adapting. Microsoft is investing in subsea data centers using ocean water for cooling. Google is experimenting with AI-optimized energy efficiency systems, cutting power use per computation. Amazon Web Services is partnering with utility companies to co-develop renewable microgrids around data centers, balancing community needs with corporate goals, and new startups are exploring modular and edge computing models where smaller data clusters are distributed closer to users, reducing strain on single regions and lowering latency. But these are still early solutions to a growing problem, because the deeper issue isn't just technical, it's ethical. How much should communities sacrifice for the convenience of the cloud? Should companies be allowed to consume billions of gallons of water for AI workloads while local farmers face restrictions? Should renewable energy credits excuse real-world overuse? These are questions regulators are beginning to ask. Several states are now drafting legislation to impose stricter environmental reporting on data centers, requiring transparency around water use, emissions, and energy sourcing. Some local governments are even setting moratoriums on new construction until sustainability standards are met. And yet the tension remains. Big tech argues that data centers are essential, the foundation of the digital economy, AI progress, and national competitiveness. Communities argue that unchecked expansion is unsustainable, unfair, and increasingly invasive. It's a modern paradox. The more digital our lives become, the more physical the cost. Every gigabyte in the cloud still has a footprint on the ground. Every AI model has a carbon shadow. Every instant internet experience is powered by millions of watts running in the background. The debate over data centers isn't just about servers, it's about the balance between innovation and responsibility. If tech companies can find a way to build greener, smarter, and more community-integrated infrastructure, the AI revolution can grow sustainably. But if they ignore the pushback, they risk facing the same fate as other overextended industries, from oil to real estate, where growth outpaced governance. In the end, this isn't just a fight over energy and water, it's a fight over what kind of digital future we want to live in, one built for efficiency or one built for equity. Because the real test of the tech industry's power isn't how much data it can process, it's whether it can do it without burning the world around it.